America's Christian heritage has made such an indelible impression that even a secularized society cannot erase its verbiage on its most historic infrastructure. As Washington, D.C. has been awash with treacherous displays of vice and vanity, the city is enshrouded by darkness and a lack of warmth. In this context, affluence is the currency of power, and trust exercised at one's own peril. The irony is that these blatant displays of sin fall on the backdrop of buildings that persist as hallmarks of Christian polity, though now disbelieved. These are the halls that tell a narrative of freedom and prosperity and emphasize the need to trust in God. This city continues to be a beacon that influences the rest of the world for good and for evil.
And yet, it is crucial to recognize that this domain belongs to Christ the King, and it is our mandate to plant a flag in the heart of it, declaring the truth that Christ is King of Kings and Lord of Lords, to whom all people and nations should bow and swear their allegiance. Ours should be the bold ambition to claim Washington, D.C. for Christ and disciple it, to once again walk in the ways of God. In order to do this, we need churches that are courageous and wise to proclaim the whole counsel of God's Word in order for every realm of life to experience reform.
The church ought to be recognized as a fundamental form of government who possess the keys to the kingdom. These potent keys have the ability to shape the moral consciousness of society, speaking into matters of culture and politics. We need Nathans speaking to Davids, Calvins speaking to Francis. We need Knoxes righteously troubling the conscience of monarchs.
In an age that is floundering and languishing in chaos, this is an opportune moment for the church to recover the potency of its voice. We need potent cities on a hill that shine a light that will devastate the darkness, rather than cower before it, and speak with a voice of truth that thunders, rather than curtail to the whims and tantrums of empaths, and that will be a fortress and a pillar of virtue, shepherding leaders who will exercise dominion in their respective domains.
In this episode, we are joined by Nick Solheim, Jared Longshore, and Joe Rigney. Nick Solheim is the Chief Executive Officer of American Moment and host of the Moment of Truth podcast. He co-founded American Moment in 2021 and brings experience from both the tech world and public policy. From leading startups to founding the Wallace Institute for Arctic Security, Nick has consistently fought for a future that prizes competence, courage, and clarity. He lives with his wife Evie and their 2 children in West Virginia.
Dr. Jared Longshore is a husband, father of 7, and a theologian who practices what he preaches. He serves as an undergraduate dean and fellow of theology at New St. Andrews College, and as an associate pastor at Christ Church in Moscow, Idaho. A veteran pastor since 2007, he holds an MDiv and a PhD from Southern Seminary and is the author of Wisdom for Kings and Queens, Strong and Courageous, and The Case for the Christian Family. He's one of the clearest voices, calling men to reject passivity and reclaim responsibility.
Joe Rigney is a fellow of theology at New St. Andrews College and author of Leadership and Emotional Sabotage, and his most recent book being The Sin of Empathy. Dr. Rigney's work explores the forces shaping our emotions and decisions, illuminating how courage can free us from fear's grip. Previously, he served as professor and president of Bethlehem College and Seminary, pastor at Cities Church, and teacher at Desiring God. An ever-curious generalist, he has a passion for teaching on topics from C.S. Lewis and Shakespeare to biblical theology and political philosophy. When he's not exploring ideas, Joe's coaching high school football, playing baseball with his 3 sons, or spending cherished time with his wife, Jenny.
This is Kings and Statesmen, a show dedicated to fostering thought, policy, and dialogue that shape the American political landscape in the virtues of truth, beauty, and goodness.
And now, to our conversation.